And buses were the two modes of transportation with TTC that were primarily affected by this. What's the update now?
Hi, Kadeep. That still remains the case. We still have no service in a number of sections on the subway. Things have improved a little bit better where we have no service between Downsview and St. Clair West. We have now 14 buses, nowhere near enough, but as best as we can muster, running a shuttle. There's no service Osgood to Bloor. We have 25 buses servicing that. No service Lawrence to Finch. We have 20 buses servicing that. No service Ossington to Kipling. We have 5 buses on that. No service on the Shepherd. The main issue remains that we're still awaiting getting our traction current, the electricity, restored back via Hydro 1. We have been on to them. We've said to them we absolutely have to be given the top priority to have our service restored. We know that they're working on it, but I'm in constant contact with Toronto Hydro and Hydro 1 to make sure that we're given that priority. We had a number of trap trains. We have prioritised those, and we have sent staff into the tunnels to walk customers out to make sure that they're safe. And those customers are being walked out at the moment, and there's no injuries that I'm aware of. Although obviously that's a pretty scary thing for customers to have to do, but they're in good hands with our staff. Buses are running, but struggling. As you heard just now, there's lots of roads closed. The buses are getting through the water, although they're having to work around stranded cars. The SRT is running okay. The streetcars are running, but struggling in places. The main issue, Gurdeep, is to get our power back. As soon as we can get the power back, we can get our trains moving again and get the subway moving and get everyone home. So, horrendous night for everyone. My staff are flat out on it. Transit controllers pretty much overwhelmed at times with the amount of calls coming in, but we're very focused on what we need to do, and we will get everyone home, and we will get everyone home safely.
Andy, from talking to your employees, have you been able to get a sense of just how many people roughly, or how many TTC customers are affected by what's gone on tonight?
Well, it would be tens of thousands. I mean, it was the height of the evening peak. I mean, we still are pretty much coming to the end of the peak period now, but there are a lot of people out there. Now, obviously, there were people caught on trap trains. There were people trapped on trains in platforms. What we tried to do when we started to lose the power was we do what we call a stop and stay, which is to get trains to stop and stay in platforms, because it's much better to have them in the platform rather than in the tunnel. But at the height of the peak, there's more trains than there are platforms. That's pretty normal. So there were a few trains that we then had to account for. So we are talking about tens of thousands of people. Obviously, people at the stations themselves, they want to get somewhere. We have mustered every possible bus we can get hold of, and we've managed to put on some shuttles, but there will be long lineups. People will be frustrated. I'm sure people will be very keen to get home, as are we all. Just ask people to bear with us. We've had a citywide problem to deal with.
We all get frustrated with delays. We've all been there. And, I know it's been a tough week for you personally, Andy. There was some signal issues last week, and you were out there talking to the customers. Can you speak to the level of frustration, and do you think there's an understanding when it's an extenuating circumstance like this, something that is out of the TTC's control?
Well, I certainly hope that people would understand that, if we lose our power, then that is going to have an immediate impact upon the subway. I'm focused very much on getting this fixed. We want to get the power back on, get everyone to where they need to go. People will be frustrated by this. Certainly, I would hope, though, that they see with all the problems that the rest of the city, fire crews charging around, cars stranded, DVP closed, the Don River looking like it might flood. This was a very, very violent storm. So when things calm down tomorrow, we'll have a look at how we handled it. But right now, my priority is to get everyone home and to get everyone home safely.
That is TTC CEO Andy Byford right there. Thanks for joining us again. We may just be bugging you again before this is through.
Fine.
Appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks very much. Bye.
Okay, and still with the TTC side of the story, let's take you over now to St. Andrews Station. That is where our Christina Tenalia is. Christina, what's going on over there?
Gurdeep, we've actually moved. We're here right at the Bayview extension. Take a look at this. This is the Don River that's overflowed here onto the Bayview extension. I'm going to walk into it to get an idea of how deep this water here really is. It appears to be at least a foot deep. You can see I got tiny rain boots on here. I just spoke to a police officer on scene. He says there are 2 cars. They're submerged, officer. He says they're submerged, and the water, when you keep moving back, the water is shoulder deep. So those cars have been abandoned. because they were stuck underwater. No one's inside those cars. As I mentioned, they're abandoned. We just arrived here on scene literally seconds before I came to air. You can see the extension here has turned into a lake. No cars. Police have blocked off this area, but this is what we're seeing here. We've been seeing photos and images on Twitter, tweets showing the Don Valley Parkway at Dundas, where the water has completely taken over. We've also heard from our Jian Lee, who's been stuck on the DVP for some time. The CAA has sent out a tweet saying parts of the DVP are closed. So as you can see, this area here completely flooded. Officer, if I can ask you quickly off camera, how far does this extend?
It's around River Street.
Okay, so this goes from the Bayview extension to River Street. How deep does the water get?
I would guess right now at the shoulder level.
Okay, the officer says shoulder level. What happened to those people in their cars? They just saw that the water was getting too high and they took off on foot.
They abandoned their cars, I guess, yeah.
Okay, so this officer is not authorized to speak on camera, which is why we're not putting him on air. He's a Toronto police officer speaking to me just on the side there. He says, from what he understands, the people who were in their cars realized the water was getting a little bit too high, and they took off. So this is what we're seeing throughout the city, Gurdeep, at this time. Again, we just arrived here on scene seconds ago, and you could see the extension. It's a pool. Back to you.
All right, Christina, appreciate that. Right now, I want to send you back over to the breaking news desk. Stephanie Smythe joined by Jian Lee on the phone, who is stuck in this traffic on the DVP. Steph.
Well, now we're going to go to Brian Carr, who's in the King and Atlantic area, where there were some cars submerged a little earlier. Brian, what are we looking at now there?
Hi, Steph and Gurdeep. I'm here at King and Sudbury. I was on the west side of the bridge earlier. Now I'm on the east side. As you can see, King Street remains closed in both directions, and that's because of this little matter under the bridge, where we've got about 7 cars who were caught in the flood. The water earlier was right up to the sidewalk on the other side there. So about a foot and a half of water. As you can see, the manhole covers have been blown right off here, and the water right up to the edge of that manhole cover. What we have now are crews on scene hooking up these vehicles, some pointing east, some pointing west, some pointing north on an eastbound, westbound street. So tow crews are on the scene now. And as you can see, they're just starting to hook up the first of these 8 vehicles that look like they got drowned out here in the flood.
Does this look like it's a situation that's getting better to you? Like the water might have receded in that area from earlier? Is it hard for you to tell?
Yeah, Steph, clearly the water's gone down. Earlier when I was here, it was covering the sidewalk that I'm standing on now. Police are on scene with the tow trucks. There was a concern about some sewage in the area, and you can certainly smell that. But it looks like the tow guys are making quick work of this, getting to each and every one of these vehicles. A little bit of personal property floating around here, but no injuries as far as we can tell.
Okay.
And that's great news.
Wow, Brian Carr, thanks so much for those pictures. We appreciate it. We'll check back with you in a bit. And now what we want to do is check in with our meteorologist, Chris Potter. And Chris, I know that there was a severe thunderstorm warning issued again just a short time ago for Toronto. That's just what we need, is more rain and thunder.
And you think of yesterday, too, and I brought up this point before, we already had heavy downpours yesterday, and that kind of overloads the systems anyway. That saturates the soil. So usually, if you've had a stretch of dry weather, soil is a little drier. When it rains, it actually is able to absorb some of that. Well, they were already saturated. Then the storm drains, they already had extra volume in them from yesterday. Of course, the rivers, the streams were higher. They were faster flowing because of the recent rainfall. Then we got copious amounts of rain. I'll throw out these numbers. These are unofficial totals that I'm taking directly from the raw METAR data coming from Pearson Airport. But so far, 94 millimeters of rain fell from Pearson Airport at YYZ. Between 5 and 6, we got the most of it. Obviously, if you were outside during that time, you knew that it was raining extremely heavy and steady. 74 millimeters. I'll update you as soon as the next little METAR comes out. But think about the record rainfall for July 8th. Yeah, we've walloped that. 29.2 millimeters set back in 2008. The average July rainfall all month long averages 74.4 millimeters. So we got more in 2-3 hours than we typically see during an entire month of July. So to say It was raining heavily is a severe understatement, and we still have heavy rain and thunderstorms. There's another cluster of rain, a big line extending all the way from Mount Forest towards the city, and although the intensity isn't all that dramatic right now in the downtown core, I'm actually standing out here with just a few drops. Look to our north and west. You can see the activity starting to develop, and it's starting to organize itself. There is some heavier bands embedded within this, moving towards the Brampton area, moving back towards Pearson Airport. This activity will settle a little bit further towards the west. Hamilton, Burlington escape with showers. Now they're going to start getting into some heavier rain. Now there is light at the end of the tunnel. In terms of this rainfall event, as epic as it has been and epic as it will be in the books when it's all said and done, is going to come to an end in terms of the rainfall potential.
And I do want to show you, we've been showing you this camera here. This is the Don Valley Parkway near Dundas, and again, both directions are completely flooded.
His engine gave out, so he did not take the advice of the other guy who was trying to get his wife out, but when he was telling him to not go through. So now these two cars are stuck here, and in fact, when we got here just before 7 o'clock, about 20 to 7, the Ferrari was completely submerged. We could not even tell that it was a vehicle. We can actually see its tires now, so that gives you an indication of the rate at which this water is receding. But because it's sewage water, there is so much debris left behind, plastic water bottles, garbage, all sorts of stuff, a bucket I can see. So it's a pretty nasty situation, and pedestrians can't walk through this area either. I mean, the police have it completely taped off. Very tricky situation, not only this portion of the roadway in Toronto. We were on the lakeshore earlier, and at least 2 lanes there taken out, sewage backing up in a variety of places. Now, where we are right next to Union Station, the flooding situation on the GO Transit system also pretty severe. In fact, an update from GO Transit, they're letting us know that they have a portion of their track west of Long Branch completely underwater. That means that they're not able to operate trains along the Lakeshore West line.
To bring in the Marine unit, they couldn't get the passengers out of the train. They went up to the higher levels. Dan was telling me it was about hip level, maybe, the water. So, and they were afraid at one point that the train was tilting, listing over. You can see it does look a little bit like it's on its side, but maybe that's just our vantage point. So there was some concern. Dan seemed pretty lighthearted about it, that everybody was okay. There were a few anxious moments. But then, you know, we're seeing some tweets right now from people who are saying one woman, her mom is on the train and she's very worried about it and very upset and nervous. And Dan also mentioned that there were some people that had to be helped by some nurses. So I think it's been a stressful situation for some more than others. But either way, Dan is tweeting at us pictures, as I asked him to, #Flood24 that will show. But this is a live look right now of the Marine unit getting people out of that train and onto those little boats, because that water must be fairly high, and they, you know, for safety reasons, obviously don't want people trying to swim away. So they were really stuck on there, Gurdeep, up on the 2nd level since 5:30. It's hot, and, you know, there are some people who are pretty nervous. So they're coming down to sort of that mid-level where you see the Marine unit officers taking them out of that window onto those little rescue boats.
And Steph, we're actually going to take our viewers inside the train right now. Back to Jonah Cade. He is one of the passengers we spoke to about an hour and a half ago. Jonah, you've been stuck on there for about 4 hours now. We're watching this rescue operation taking place, this human chain. Tell us what you're seeing and experiencing from inside.
Listen, I'm not going to promote any kind of scare tactics or anything like that. Here's the reality. We're stuck up here, and there's some people that need to get out. And sooner the better. The reality, again, is just it's not so good. We're trying to open some windows and, you know, get the people that need to get out of here. And hopefully that happens a lot sooner than later.
So, Jonah, is this? Have they told you anything about this rescue effort? Is it strictly for folks who have to get off the train, or are they trying to extract everybody from?
All I know so far is that there's a few people that really aren't doing so good. They've made a conscious effort to try and get those people out first. I got someone beside me who needs to get out of here right now, and it's not looking so pretty.
You know, when I spoke to you, Jonah, about an hour ago, I could hear the frustration in your voice. I hear it again now. Can you tell us what the mood is like on that train right now?
Listen, I think majority of people are doing fine. I think that we're just concerned for the people that aren't doing so great, and we'd like to see them do a little bit better. So I don't know what they're planning on doing, but we got somebody here who we'd like to get off. So I don't know what else I can do because, again, we're stuck here, you know? and I don't think I'm about ready to just jump into this river exactly. So I don't know.
All right, well, listen, Jonah, be patient. There's not much else you can do at this point. I can tell you we're looking at pictures. The Toronto Police Marine Unit are on it. They're doing their best to try and get those folks who need to be off the train.
Is there anything that you can tell me, like, with regards to, like, what they're doing to get us out of here? 'Cause
I can tell you what we're seeing right now, and from the notes that I've seen going around in our internal email inbox, I can tell you that the Toronto Police Marine Unit are on this, and they're forming a bit of a human chain, and they're pulling people out of a lower story window, out of the, I guess, sort of the mid-level window on that GO train right now. That's what we're looking at.
The solution to this is to play Red Rover. I gotcha. Okay, that's wonderful. Anyway, looks like we're stuck here for a little while.
Yeah, for a little bit, and who knows, Jonah, we may be talking to you again before this is all said and done. We appreciate you taking the time, and hopefully you can help.
Reach me.
Yeah, hopefully you can help lighten the mood on that train. You've got a good sense of humor about yourself, anyways. Thank you, Jonah.
I appreciate it. Maybe you got a future in broadcasting. What can I say?
Perhaps. Never say never. Thanks, Jonah. All right, our Jackie Crandall, she is also keeping track of some of the fallout from this flood that was caused by this storm that was really heavy between the hours of 5 and 7. The rain still continues to come down. She joins us live near Union Station. Jackie, what's going on with the delays there?
Well, of course, but no power means no service to a big chunk of the subway system, and it means a lot of passengers are having to wait in the rain in very long lineups to catch shuttle buses that are few and far between. We're on Bay Street, just north of Front Street, and about 15 minutes ago, this lineup had completely disappeared. 2 shuttle buses showed up, everybody piled on, and this is how quickly it has grown in that period of time. Jonathan joins me now. You had a nice alternative as opposed to waiting in the rain. You have been waiting it out in your office. Tell us where you're trying to get to and what your frustration is.
I'm trying to get up to Bay and Davenport. I've been in my office for a little bit. There's no cabs around. Cabs are all taken, and the subway's down, so just waiting for bus.
Did you even attempt to go down into the subway system?
Yeah, I took a look. I had a feeling it was off because I saw the big line, but I took a look and there was a line. It was a sign that it was closed. So.
Are you a frequent TTC user?
Yeah, in the morning I take the subway every morning, and in the afternoon and the evening I usually leave work pretty late, so I take a cab, and there's no cabs in sight, so I'm stuck taking a bus.
What do you make of this situation? You're one of thousands of passengers that have been left stranded this evening.
It's just natural kind of rain that the city can't handle. I wish there was more cabs down here at this time. Like, it's a good time for them to make money, so I would have hoped they all came with a flock, but I guess some of them are taking a night off too, so.
And the bus, we should mention, that you're seeing here behind me is not one of those, it is a subway shuttle bus, so I'll let you get on there.
Thank you,
if that's the bus that you need to take. Thank you so much, Jonathan. I just saw the sign on the side of the bus that says subway shuttle. So this is what so many of these passengers have been waiting in the rain for, an opportunity to get somewhere other than this spot, which is where they have been for much of the evening. Another subway shuttle showing up directly behind it. So it appears as though they're sort of arriving in good time now, and we're seeing people that have been waiting maybe 15, 20, 25 minutes, as opposed to when we first got here, people said that they've been sticking around for about 2 hours waiting for one of these buses. So things are starting to move a little bit more quickly than, of course, they have been at the height of this flooding and, of course, the height of the shutdown of the subway. We're going to continue to check in with passengers who are trying to get to where they need to go. And something I should mention, and an alternative that some people have been exploring, is staying in a hotel overnight. We have seen a couple of emails from a number of different hotels in the downtown core that are offering special rates for people who have just decided to not attempt to get out of the city and instead stay overnight in the city instead. Back to you.